The American Indians in Texas-Spanish Colonial Mission was formed in 1994 by the Tapilam Coahuiltecan Nation to strengthen their Native American community and culture.
Back in the early years, we were basically coming here to have vigils, but they were done informally and they were done basically outside the steps. In 1994, when they were doing a renovation in there, they felt that they were not going to find any remains, and even though we argued about it. And they discovered some human remains, and when they did, they left them in place. We were notified, and we entered into agreement that we would, instead of having our vigils outside, that we would be now allowed to go inside to pay the respect to our dead.
After successfully reinterring the human remains of their ancestors that had been excavated from the San Antonio Mission, the organization decided to focus their attention on young men and to promote the positive role of fathers in families.
We're in an age where we know that young men and men in general and young boys, are at the root of a lot of issues that we have, in regards to domestic violence, family wellness and things like that. And there isn't enough programming out there that engages young men or fathers throughout the nation. There's very limited curriculums out there, and they're either too generalized, or they're promoting life skills, or they're African American based, but you don't have any, Latino based curriculums. And in the Southwest, where the majority of the people majority of the youth, young men are Latinos, we chose this curriculum, that was written by Jerry Teos and Dr. Richard Carrillo out of California, and who had some successes, then we felt that this would work here.
Mr. Jerry Tejo and Dr. Ricardo Carrillo are co-authors of a nationally recognized multicultural healing family violence curriculum that recognizes the importance of knowing who you are in order to heal and move forward.
But in order to be good fathers, first of all, you have to be good men. You can't carry out a role as being a good father without being an honorable man. So part of the work that we do is helping men to heal, helping them to grow, helping them to develop, but helping them to regain that sense of honor, that sense of nobility. Because it's our belief that it's in there someplace. It's in that ancestral memory. It's in that spiritual part of them someplace, whether they know it, whether they acknowledge it, whether they remember it, or whether they live it. So part of our work is to help bring that out, and bring that out to reality for all their relations, being their relationships with spouses, their partners, their relationships with the elders, and especially the relationship with their children. And that's where we get to fatherhood, because we dedicate our lives to this next generations, all these generations, 7 generations forward. And so we really have to understand the impact that we have as men and as fathers on those children.
In this culture, in the American culture, we have a lot of difficulty between men and women. Equal rights, discrimination, sexism, all that kind. So there's a lot of, fighting between the two sexes, trying to balance those things out. We, as mestizo and indigenous people, don't see the struggle only between men and women. We see that we have to attend to the men and the women and the children and the elders in order to be connected in your entire community. So we're just bringing back, something that is known. We've known this for a long time, in the gathering and building of community, that you have to attend to all of that.
In 2003, the American Indians in Texas created the San Antonio Fatherhood Campaign, a collaboration with Making Connections that brought together other fatherhood-serving organizations in San Antonio to collectively provide resources to fathers, grandfathers, and surrogate fathers, and to create and collaborate on events that promoted responsible fatherhood. The campaign is a multi-agency effort whose partners include Southwest Key Program, Joven, the Compadres Network, the Patch Program, and Project Worth.
The different places I've gone to work, I've been able to promote that, collaborating with American Indians in Texas, and now currently I'm with Joven, and so I speak to our director about it, and so wherever I go, I'm taking that with me, and I'm encouraging that collaboration. And
the health department actually wanted to be a part of this campaign because they knew that fathers needed to be involved more actively in their child's lives. So what they did was they assigned the campaign to us, and what we did was we partnered up with the local Fatherhood Campaign, and we've done a variety of activities with them. They have called us to come facilitate the health-related topics for them, being that we are part of the health department. And we've kind of stressed how important it is for fathers to be involved in their child's lives.
When you look at movies and media, and a father's always portrayed as someone who can't take care of a home or can't take care of a child and only has the role of, bringing in the finances and being the authoritarian in the family, which the role of a father is much more than that. It's about being nurturing, it's about being loving and caring and supportive to the children as well.
Everything that you guys thought over here, positive. Everything that we saw over here, we saw it somewhat in the negative. Same two words. They mean the same thing. It's just the way they put them. There's no difference. Somebody says you got to pay child support. What they're telling you is you need to support your child. It's your child.
The PATCH program, or Papás and Their Children, is a parenting program at the Bexar County Detention Center.
The Fatherhood Campaign is one of the ones that we partner with. They come in and they do parenting classes, and Mr. Castro is the one that teaches that class, and he teaches them to be role models to their children, which the majority of them did not have a father in the home as a role model. And so he teaches them how to be husbands and fathers and to be role models and to teach the love and the encouragement to their children.
If most of our prisons are filled with young men of color, if we could reach them beforehand, if fathers could be present for their children, if they could have role models, if there can be secure attachments, maybe they won't have to be looking for the manhood someplace else. Because I'm going to tell you something, the gangs, they understand that very well. And they know how to offer that to young boys that are displaced and have been abandoned.
One of the signature programs of American Indians of Texas-Spanish Colonial Missions is the Rites of Passage program for young men, which has become an integral part of the Fatherhood Campaign.
And that was something that Isaac Cardenas is our project manager. He was also the first person to bring in a fatherhood program into San Antonio over 14 years ago.
We do this event, and it's a Rites of Passage event, so we can bring different young men from different areas of the city and to come out here for 2 nights and 3 days with older men like myself and Frank and some of our volunteer mentors to be out here in the wilderness and to learn a little bit about history. It's a pretty historical place out here in this land heritage area here, formerly known as the Applewhite Reservoir area.
How many times in your life do you have to come out into open land and spend time, 3 days with nothing but guys, hearing how they feel, hearing what they go through? That's like a once in a lifetime thing.
I already have a baby and I'm 17, and so I'm gonna teach y'all what I learned and show y'all what not to do.
I don't know anything about, having a baby inside you for 9 months or so and giving birth and seeing that child grow. I don't know anything, even though I have 2 sons. But there is some things about being a man that I do know about. And some of these young guys don't have access to a lot of men.
My dad was one of the meanest men you could ever run into. Guy did drugs, been arrested, been shot, been everything you can think of.
Another program of the campaign is a fatherhood curriculum taught at Por Vida Academy. All of the men in this class are young fathers or expectant fathers and are taught about the responsibilities of fatherhood and the important role that they play in their children's lives.
This is almost like a last chance school. If they don't finish, if they don't do anything there, that's it. They get kicked out. I'm sorry. We try real hard to work with them. A lot of the kids have been arrested before. A lot of kids have been in trouble. A lot of kids maybe haven't really done anything other than truancy. But they're all in the same, at the same level when we go in that class because they're all dads.
I was in it with, since my baby mama was 9 months. Yeah. And ever since then, I try to learn as much as I can from the Fatherhood Campaign, from Frank and everybody. Yeah, I'm in training. I'm in training right now, and when I'm at the school, Por Vida, I try to recruit as much fathers as I can, and that way I could help Frank out and just to help other people out too. See you later, alligator.
See you later.
I mean, they gave me that attention to that I never had in the past, you know what I mean? I mean, I was on my own for a good while, you know what I mean? On and off. My mom, she was a workaholic, you know what I mean? She would always work. My dad, he was incarcerated for a good while. My brothers were all incarcerated. I mean, even all of us were all incarcerated at one time, except for my mom and my sister. But really, they just hurt me, you know what I mean? So, I mean, by me telling them that, I mean, that's like, like I said, I never had my father until now. He's in my life. But that's the only thing I could say that changed me, you know what I mean? They gave me my support that I needed.
He's changed a lot with that.
Basically, I mean,
I'm kind of jealous of him because I wish we had a mother's group that was like the father's group. And I always tell him, because we don't. The father's group, I wouldn't mind being in it. I mean, if I could, I would be in it.
None of my family members ever graduated from high school. And I just wanted to be the one. And really for them, that way they won't throw it in my face sooner or later.
Another partner in the Fatherhood Campaign is the Peace Initiative, a community-based organization that advocates for families around issues of violence. They collaborated on an event called No More, No More, Stop the Violence, which was created in response to a series of child abuse incidents.
We had an event called No More, Stop the Violence rally. Our relationship with Peace and Patricia Castillo has been one that has been really mutual, because when you think of domestic violence, the majority of the perpetrators are males. Well, here you have a campaign that is made up of males, can not defend males, but actually confront these males, male to male, and say, you know what, I'm not doing it. There's no reason why you should.
In the last few years, we really have focused our efforts at trying to connect with efforts by men who are wanting to change a community's attitude towards the role of men and the role of fatherhood and the role of males within the context of the family structure. And we see that there is no other way but to be connected to their work. And I think the other thing that unites us is our love of community. You know, you can tell that those guys love their community. And we do too. And that's something that's really important to us, and it unites us.
We ask you to bless the circle. We ask you to invoke the directions of the East.
The National Compadres Network, another partner in the campaign, provides mentors to young men and takes part in most of the events sponsored by the campaign. They come together regularly and form a círculo, a circle of men, where they provide support to each other.
They all gathered. We use a talking staff, not a talking stick, but a talking staff. And that staff, sometimes we use a pair of baby shoes. They'll hold them and they get emotional, and it brings in all of these memories.
I wish in my time, I wish this program would have been available when I was young. I got married at the age of 15. I became a father of 5 kids. It was hard for me in the sense that for a couple of years I graduated. I barely graduated from the school, work and support them. Then I became a single father, a single parent with my kids for a year or two. Then after that, now I see myself, they have already grown. Wow. And I wonder myself, man, where those years went so fast.
All the teachings that I had, and then that the other men bring to that circle, we all benefit from it. We call it our gifts and our baggage.
I always appreciate that aspect to these gatherings, and a place to vent or share the painful things that happen in our lives or the glorious things. I'm a new grandpa. My daughter just had a little girl, 6 pounds, 6 ounces.
It's not a what you would say a counseling support group. It's kind of like a self-help group. It's open, people come and go, but the process is the same, and I think the process is therapeutic. Men always want to show the strong side, that they're protectors, that they're providers, but they're real bad about protecting themselves and providing for themselves. You know, that's a learning. Hopefully that, you know, when we're in this circle, the things that we bring here, whether they be gifts or whether they be burdens or just reflections and sharing a philosophy, I think we can leave this room and be better men, you know, be better men in our community.
We should have all the runners and walkers in line. The walkers should be near the
In
back.
2004, American Indians in Texas launched a 5K Mission Heritage Run Walk and Native American Festival, commemorating the native runners who provided communications between the ancient missions.
Woo! 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 Woo!
Today, it is part of the annual West Side Alive event that is a week's worth of events and activities, making people in the community and outside of the community aware of all the positive things that happen in the West Side. The 5K Run Walk attracts hundreds of participants, and this year received support from legendary Olympic gold medalist Billy Mills, the first Native American and only American to ever win the gold medal in the 10,000 meter.
We touch every facet of male involvement, from the elders to our círculo, to men in the National Compadres Network, to fathers in the Fatherhood Campaign, to teens in the Rites of Passage. So we touch every area of males, from 10 all the way up, and even some workshops that we do with younger kids in elementary schools. So we've seen that everything that we do is interconnected.
If I had this program when I was young, I guess I could have been a little bit more experienced with my family. But this program, it needs to be put out here in the West Side especially, because there's a lot of fathers here, and we need to help them out to get to learn about the value of a fatherhood.
You know, we've seen other efforts come and go. You know, how are we going to be different? How could we work towards sustainability? You know, how can we keep this alive? And my initial thought, and it's still kind of how we're working this campaign. Of course, it's now more of a larger group. But initially, it was to bring in those fatherhood groups. So people are already working on fatherhood issues. There's hundreds of thousands of dollars coming into San Antonio for fathers, you know, to certain organizations. How can we maximize that? How do we bring that together? How do we fill the gaps? How do we make the linkages? You know, how do we work towards systems reforms around fatherhood? And the only way in my mind was collectively.